Welcome back to Brothers Talking Sports. We're here for safety and cornerback preview. I'm here with Shea today. Shea, how we doing?
Good.
Good. All right, everybody, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button before we start. I got a lot of NFL action today. One breaking news we have to talk about today, and then we also have corners and safeties to talk about. Not breaking news, but of course the trade that went down yesterday between the Commanders and the 49ers. Deebo Samuel is now a Commander. We don't really need to talk about what the 49ers side of the things, right? Because they just got a 5th-round pick and they moved off Deebo Samuel for money. But what does this do for the Commanders as a team going into 2024 or 2025?
Yeah, probably. I mean, it's obviously going to help their roster. I know receiver-wise, they wanted to upgrade a little bit. You have Terry McLaurin, very, very good number one receiver. They had De'Ami Brown. Much better second half of the year than first half of the year. Seemed like he could be a lot more of a wide receiver too. So I think they're going to go with, obviously now you can have Terry McLaurin as your 1, you have Deebo Samuel as your 2, and then De'Ami Brown as your 3. That's a solid receiving core. I mean, I think anyone in the NFL, any team would be happy with those 3 guys out there at receiver. Obviously you don't how long you're going to have Deebo. This might have been a 1-year rental for Deebo because not sure how much money he's going to be asking for. He might be asking for $25 million after this year, right? I think he's got 1 year left on his contract. You're not going to want to pay him $25 million. He had 1 to 2 good years, and that's really about it. Is he a bad? No, he's not bad. He's a solid NFL receiver. But Niners utilized him in ways I don't think the Commanders plan to utilize him. For example, I don't think they're going to put him in the backfield and give him the ball 10 times a game like the Niners would a couple years ago. It's possible, but I just don't see them doing that, but you never know with Cliff Kingsbury. But I think it obviously just Washington got better, and you gave up a 5th-round pick, which I don't think you're going to need. Those later round picks, it's like if you can give them up for players like Deebo Samuel to help you win this year when you're contending the way they finished last season, I think it's going to help no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, like 1 to 2 3rd-round picks like actually become like 5 or 4-year starters. So like, it's very low that a 5th-round pick will do anything for you in the future. It's just not likely. I think this is a good move for the Commanders. Was that 5th-round pick going to do a lot for you this year? Probably not. So again, getting Deebo Samuel I think was pretty important. Right? I think they said, you know what, we'll go out and draft probably some younger defensive players in the draft, and we'll go get Deebo Samuel instead. The wide receiver market isn't really anything special. You got some okay players out there, but we'll get into that next week and everything like that. So, all right.
Yeah, I mean, if Deebo was in the wide receiver market this free agency, would he be the number 2 receiver in the free agency market?
Who would be number 1?
T. Higgins, if he makes the market.
Oh, yeah.
If T. Higgins is better than Deebo Samuel, if he made the market.
Yeah.
Who else is free agent receiver? Chris Godwin. I'd say Deebo's probably right around that. Chris Godwin.
Deebo would get more than Chris Godwin because Chris Godwin got injured.
Yeah, and he's also I think Deebo's younger than Chris Godwin too. Who else? I feel like there's one more receiver I'm forgetting about also that's decent. But Deebo would probably be right around that 2-3 range. Like he'd be one of the better receivers definitely.
Yeah.
And for the Niners, it's like you kind of expected this. They just paid Brandon Ayuk $30 million last year. They drafted Ricky Pearsall in the very end of the first round. They drafted him.
Yeah.
So those are your basically, and the way the Niners run, the Niners only run a lot of 2 receiver sets sometimes, and they also have. I'm not sure if Juwan Jennings is a free agent or not. I
think he's still there.
Is he? Yeah, and that's again, they're okay with I think having Brandon Ayuk, Juwan Jennings, and then the Ricky Pearsall as their 3 receivers. You got McCaffrey, George Kittle, so they were okay with moving off of Deebo Samuel and that money, knowing they weren't going to pay him, and they were just like, let's just get rid of him now, get whatever value we can get for him, and go forward. So I think it worked out for both teams. Would have been nice to get higher than a 5th-round pick, maybe, but again, when you got a guy who's he's been dealing with injury, he's had hamstring injuries, a lot of injury reasons, has been banged up, and just hasn't been as productive, especially last year, as he had been in the past few years. It's just get whatever value you can.
Exactly, you're right. All right, let's move on to our cornerbacks and safety reviews today. We kick it off with Travis Hunter. So I did Travis Hunter. Ezra did some other players in here that unfortunately he's not able to be here today this week. Most likely he'll be on next week. I Could almost guarantee that. But this week he wasn't able to make it. Understand, stuff goes on. Travis Hunter, 6'1", 185. My player comp was Pat Surtain. I don't like to give big player comps. I gave 2 of them, actually, throughout this process. This one and then the last player. I gave 2 big player comps. Mm-hmm. You could look at some of his stats over there. I threw up just the PFF stats this time. I didn't type it out or anything. I think it was actually easier to do this. Strengths.
Those are not his. I would say those are not all of his stats. Oh wait, those are his. Got it. How long? I saw like the catches and yards, and I thought that was his offensive stats. That's against him. Okay, that makes more sense. That's
against him.
So I was like, he put a way better stats than that. But yeah, that makes more sense.
Strengths, never gives up an A. Plays elite ball skills, high IQ, and zone coverage. Physical corner, almost always plays press. Likes to get hands on receivers right away, and stays at receiver's hips pocket very well. His height could be a problem. Versus much bigger receivers, and sometimes get caught looking for the big play. Yeah, I think Travis Hunter is CB number 1 for me. I think he's CB number 1 for a lot of people. As a cornerback, I think he's everything you're looking for. I think he's a little small, but at the same time, I'm okay with that.
That's it.
Yeah, that's about it.
I think that the weaknesses, we got some of them about it. The only thing wrong with Travis Hunter is he might be a little undersized. He maybe needs to hit the weights a little bit more because he's a little on the skinnier side.
I'm going to go fix the light.
But that's about it with him. I mean, his weight could be a problem. Much bigger wide receivers, yes. But again, I think if you're an NFL team and you try and put him up in press coverage against someone like DK Metcalf, you're just dumb for doing that in the first place. Sometimes you get caught looking for the big play in zone. This is a common theme with a lot of the corners, I think, in this draft, at least what I've noticed. A bunch of the guys I tend to, in zone coverage, they get caught staring in the backfield a little too long, looking at the quarterback, and it causes them to kind of get out of position. That's a common thing. But again, Travis Hunter, he's just kind of a guy, he's a ball hawk. He knows where to be on the field. He knows how to make plays. He's just so versatile. And I think that's why, again, and the idea that he's, like you said, Oscar, that he's the corner 1, and also possibly the wide receiver 1 too in this draft is what makes him such a high prospect to go number 1 in the draft, to go so as high as he is. You're getting an elite level player, elite level talent right out of college. Yeah,
I got to fire the production guy after that. So he's getting fired.
Oh, okay.
So that was a little annoying. You're fired. All right. Like I said, I agree a lot with Travis Hunter. Like, I was trying to think of weaknesses, and I was like, well, he's a little undersized, but outside of that,
that's it. That's
really it. I watched his tape. He's really good. I did watch him versus Tetron McMillan. He did struggle a little bit, but also had some nice plays on there. So, like, that's like one of the top.
And again, that's the best. That's probably the best receiver in college. Yes. I won't say the best receiver in college football because, again, you have Jeremiah Smith from Ohio State who hasn't gone. But the best receiver coming out of this draft class, and I remember he had 5 catches, 35 yards or something like that. Not big numbers against him.
Yeah.
And not even against him, but just in the game in general. So it's like, you're putting up numbers like that against the best receiver, while also he probably had 100 yards receiving on the other side of the ball. So it's just the fact that he could go both ways. We'll talk about him more with the receivers too. I know he's declared as a corner.
Yeah, but if he focuses more as like one position,
exactly, he could be
just insane. You know, so. We'll see what happens in the NFL. We'll see what teams want to do. It really depends on where he gets drafted and everything like that. So, all right, we move on here to Will Johnson. Ezra did Will Johnson, so there's unfortunately not a lot we could do here except for read off what he said. 6'2", 220, player comp Cooper DeJean, great route recognition skills, elite in man coverage, great quickness and acceleration to close gap / recovery speed if it gets beat. Hold on, let's see if I can try to read the rest of this because he
messed it up. What a shame for him.
Great length to break up passes.
I feel like there's a lot of length in this draft. A lot of taller guys, long arms guys. You'll see that kind of is a common thing.
Okay. Can be too physical at the top route, leading to get beat downfield, and with his physicality, occasionally DPI downfield. Will Johnson was interesting to me. I didn't watch his game. Like I said, we had Ezra watch his game, so I don't really know a lot about Will Johnson and especially his game, but he is my CB2. I think he's better than Jahad Barron that we're going to talk about in a little bit. Do you have anything on Will Johnson?
Yeah, Shay? I don't know if I don't think he played the whole year this year.
I don't think he did either, no.
And there's a reason. I know a lot of the big games they played in, he didn't really play.
Oh, he played 279 snaps. That must have been 4 or 5 games.
Yeah, he really didn't play a lot this year.
He played 6
Coming
games.
into this year, he was phenomenal. Obviously, he was a big part of Michigan's national championship run. I mean, it might have been him who had the pick against Alabama to win him the game in the semifinal round. He was great coming into this year. Everyone was like, oh, this guy's going to be a stud. He's going to be a top 5 pick. I really thought, and I thought like the Giants would be, obviously they figure out quarterback, but I was like, oh, if the Giants, this would be a big guy for the Giants because he'll go high. The Giants won't be so good. Great secondary guy. I also thought Jacksonville picking at 5 this year. I was like, oh, this is perfect. Like, he's definitely didn't have the best year this year. Obviously banged up. I know a lot of the big games he didn't play in, but I think he's still a very, very good corner. Just obviously missed some time this year. But again, yeah, I know people have fallen in love with Jedi Barron as they've done more and more look with him. But yeah, I think it's tough to say. This guy's probably still the CB2. He'll probably still go in the top 10. If not, top 15. He'll definitely be a first round early guy to go off the board.
All right, let's move on here. Trey Amos, Shea, you did him, so let's go talk. You can go talk about him.
I don't know if it's Trey Amos or Trey Amos.
Either way.
Trey Amos sounds kind of cool, but I'm going to go as it was Adrian Amos. I'll say his name is Trey Amos. So some of his strengths, good size and strength, and plays to his length, helping him in the press coverage and at the catch point. Great press technique, quick with his hands, and great lateral movement. Natural ball skills and a natural athlete. He also likes to come up and tackle, quick to react to the run game. Some of his weaknesses, inconsistent and tends to lean towards arm tackles with bigger ball carriers. So he does like to come up and play in the run game, but as he would kind of come to a bigger running back, he kind of shy away a little bit the last second, turn his shoulder, kind of just try and go for an arm tackle. Straight line speed, not the best on ISO shots. However, he kind of graded, if you look at his 40 time, I think he ran a 4.4, like 4.4 flat. So the big thing was like, I know scouts and everything, the whole thing was like, on one-on-one balls, he kind of get beat sometimes, and I don't know if his catch-up speed was so good. But he tested, I think, a lot better than people thought at the combine. I think this guy's stock is really going to rise. And as a guy who I didn't know if he was going to go in the first round, I think actually will be a first-round pick now, definitely. Overly aggressive with both his hands and his eyes. So I said with his hands, it caused him not to be able to get his head around to find the football. He's a lot of kind of focused receiver, a lot of hand fighting, hand checking, everything like that. And sometimes he's late getting his head around to find the ball, which is obviously not a good thing. And then with his eyes, he tends to get caught staring for too long, leaving him to be out of position, and his catch-up speed isn't great. Same thing like we said with Travis Hunter. In zone, his eyes kind of get caught at the quarterback sometimes, leaves him out of position. I said his comparison was Trayvon Diggs. This is a press man-to-man corner who likes to be aggressive, and he's going to jump the ball. He's got great ball skills. This is a ball hawk of a corner right here, Trey Amos. So if you are a team that needs a man-to-man corner, this is a guy you're going to want to go out and get. I think he makes great plays. I think he had a phenomenal year at Ole Miss. I think he's just a very, very overall great corner. And I've liked him more as I've done more research on him.
Yeah, I didn't watch any of Trey Amos again. I watched some other guys and other stuff like that. So Trey Amos wasn't one of the guys I watched. Trayvon Diggs is interesting there.
This is my corner 4. This is who I'd put as my corner 4.
Okay.
Behind the obvious top 3 guys.
Okay.
This is a guy, honestly, I was hoping the Packers somehow Jedi Barron would fall to them at 23.
Probably won't.
I don't think so. But honestly, if they pick Trey Amos at pick 23, I will not be mad because I think this guy is, if Jeff Hafley run that man-to-man scheme, I think this is a good guy to go get because I think he's going to be physical. He's going to make plays. 6'1", 190, pretty good size for a corner. I think that I've liked this guy more the more I've done research.
I think there's a better guys probably just as good as this kid.
Really? You didn't watch, like I said, I like this kid. I think I've liked him a lot. I think was projected maybe in like the 40s or so. I'm not sure where but I think running a 4, I'm pretty sure he ran like a 4.4 flat, 4.40, which is, I think, faster than people thought because the whole thing with him is like, maybe he's a little he's not super athletic, super fast. So I think running that was big for him. Same thing with like Jedi Barron running a 4.39 or whatever he ran. Tested better. But yeah, I think he's going to be a riser. And I think because he's like the 4th best corner, he'll go in the first round because I think there'll be teams that need a corner.
Yeah. All right, let's move on here. Xavier Watts here, safety out of Notre Dame, 6 foot, 203. Strengths, great closing speed on the football. I can play anywhere on the field. Could be a really good nickel linebacker in the NFL. He was kind of bigger. I didn't have a lot of strengths with him because I didn't think he was really great at anything, but I didn't think he was bad at anything. Not the stickiest when it comes to man coverage. Can get beat on double moves. Not a high-level tackler and would like to see quicker reactions in zone/man coverage. Xavier Watts is one of the interesting ones. I think if let's actually pull up it really quick on PFF, because PFF I'm pretty sure had him playing literally everywhere, whether it was the box, nickel. Let's hold on.
Which is probably what makes him such a higher prospect, because if you have a guy that could play anywhere on the field, it's a lot higher of a draft than.
Okay. Xavier Watts. He played in the box and he played everywhere. The slot, he literally lined up everywhere.
Which is, again, if you're an NFL team and you see a guy that could play, he could play safety, he could play outside corner, he could play in the slot, he could play like in the box. You're like, okay, that's a guy I want on my football team, because there is like 7 positions he could fill right there, and you're like, oh yeah, this guy's solid anywhere. I'll put him there. That's
why I think he could be a good, like, a big nickel linebacker. You know, he's not that big, but he also can play that. I think he's, like I said, I think he's a perfect nickel linebacker.
Yeah, that'll give him a lot of teams will be interested in a guy like that.
Right. So I think Xavier Watts is perfect for that spot. He did catch a couple of interceptions. In college, so he had some place there. I remember the one against USC where he overthrew it. Caleb Williams overthrew it, went right to him. So listen, he has some place where he can get the hands on football as well. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I don't think he's a first round pick. He's safety number 3 for me. I think we only did 3 safeties.
Well, obviously behind Malachi Starks, and then there is
Nick Amore.
Yeah.
So I think he's cornerback. I think we only did 3 safeties. I think we did 8 corners.
And usually, again, safeties don't go in the first round. It's just how it is, unless they're very, very good. For example, like Malachi Starks should go in the first round because he's a very, very good
we didn't do a couple corners. We didn't do the Kentucky kid. The Kentucky kid is now jumped because he ran a 4.3 flat.
Oh, yeah.
So we didn't do that kid. And
again, the combine always changes things of guys. But again, I don't like the combine testing, and I also do like the combine testing. A lot of guys
combine means nothing.
A lot of guys don't do it, but again, it's like, how fast can you run in shorts and a shirt? Like, it's different than like on the field.
Yeah.
But it is nice to see certain guys where you're like, I question if their speed is that good, like Jedi Barron and Trey Amos, and then they run a 4.39 or a 4.4. Like, okay, so they do have speed. All right, so I'm not like then you don't have to worry about that as much. Yeah. Like, okay, they can run. Now I gotta look at the rest of their game.
Kyle Gordon was my player comp for him of the Chicago Bears. He's played a couple of years there. He's played 3 years there now, so he's been the starter there. So I think he MLN's his game really well. Analyzes his game really well. Jahid Barron, a guy that I thought I didn't like probably as much as other people fell in love with him. And I wrote down before the comment.
No, I know. I was actually going to change this when I saw it, but I was like, I'll let you leave it. But it's like,
well, I'll start with this weakness. Doesn't have elite speed for a corner. Then he ran a 4 flat. I thought I didn't. First thing I popped on film, I was like, all right, this guy's okay.
I'm pretty sure he ran a 4. He could say he ran a 4.3 because I think he ran a 4.39. I don't know if that was the official time, but I think he ran a 4.39, which you got a guy like this that's just going to boost his stock even more.
I wrote, we'll struggle in the NFL against good NFL wide receivers. Going to struggle in man coverage scheme a little short, and would like to see him make more plays on the ball, even though he had 5 interceptions. So would like to see a little bit more of that. Versatile player, can play in the box, deep, everywhere. Right, I think that's that's the reason why he's a corner and going to be drafted very high. You know, he didn't. I'm pretty sure, if I remember, he didn't get asked to do it a lot this year. I'm pretty sure he was just an outside corner, but I'm pretty sure the years before that, let's see, he played. Yeah, the years before he played in the slot. He didn't play as much as just corner, just regular cornerback. So he could play anywhere, really. And they gave him the versatility to do that at Texas with such good defense over there.
I know one thing. Look at his PFF grade. He graded in the 90s.
Yeah, he did.
Not a lot of guys. Like I said, not a lot of guys graded.
That man coverage grade was a 60.
No, he's not the best in man coverage, but he is a I mean, he's phenomenal in zone coverage. Like any team that's zone coverage, like this is a guy you want on your team.
Good and willing tackler, great play recognition, and does an extremely good job in zone coverage. I think if you're a zone team, I think you should be definitely taking Jahide Barrett anywhere within the top 15 picks. If you need a corner. If you're probably more of a man coverage scheme, I'd probably stay away from him and probably go try to find some of these guys in the back half of the first round, even the second round.
That's where Trey
because there's a lot of guys that could play man coverage on the back. There's a lot of guys that could play man coverage elsewhere. So I think Jahide Barrett's still a really good player. Kool-Aid McKinstry was my player comp for him. I think he was close to that. There's another player I wanted to go with too. I forgot his name. I forgot who it was. But I thought Kool-Aid was closer to Jahide Barrett. All right, we move on here. Siobhan Ravel. All right, Shay, go take it away.
All right, Siobhan Ravel. As you can see, he's 6'3", 193. I made his player comparison, Sauce Gardner. Another one was Tariq Woolen, but someone already else. I don't remember who else did Tariq Woolen. You did, yeah.
I couldn't give somebody Sauce Gardner. I actually thought Sauce Gardner too for the other one.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I couldn't give Sauce Gardner.
Wait till I kind of describe this guy for you, and I'll tell you why it's Sauce Gardner. But then I'll get into my opinions on him in a sec. So his strengths: great speed, not just combine speed either. And he moves smoothly from someone with his size. Basically, he's a guy who's 6'3", 193. You don't think he moves pretty quick. He's a 4'4" guy. Great length, which he disrupts passing lanes and bullies receivers at the line. Can win in the press. He has great recovery speed. Just needs to use it more. You'll see when we get to the weaknesses about his recovery speed. Ball skills have gotten so much better over it was 22 to 23 and 23 to 24 as he's developed as a player. His ball skills have gotten so much better. He trusts his length to make plays. He wants to come up and make a hit in the run game. He likes to come up and make tackles. Now his weaknesses. I put below average. It's more maybe like slightly below average ball skills. Because that was the one thing with him. His ball skills were really bad. They've gotten better, but they're still, for an NFL corner, I'd say they're still a little below average. Tough time catching with his hands, leading to missed turnover opportunities. Basically, he's a corner. He can't catch with his hands. Sums up about most of them. But yeah, if he picks with his body more, he gets caught staring at the quarterback for too long in zone coverage. I told you that's a lot of guys in this draft. They get caught staring at the which that's something that NFL discipline usually help fix that. He gets too grab you and beat. A lot of flags, more than you would like. And he has to trust his catch-up speed more. He's got great catch-up speed. He runs a 4.4. He's fast. He could catch up when he gets beat. But he tends to, like Sauce Gardner does, he grabs a lot. Which, again, NFL teams sometimes don't like that. Here's the big one. ACL tear in September. He played 3 games, and he tore his ACL. So limited sample size of 3 games. Also playing against lesser competition, which leads this guy to me to be a very risky pick. He played at East Carolina University.
Yeah.
Smaller conference, less competition. He played 3 games. He's coming off an ACL tear. It's different if you tear your ACL on game 11 and you played at Alabama. You had a lot of good competition. This guy doesn't have too much experience against big-time teams. Played 3 games this year. He tore his ACL. He's still recovering. This is a risky pick. This guy can be very good corner. He could be a very good corner in the NFL. But there's also a chance I think this guy busts because he's off an ACL. Didn't play anyone too good. It's tough to draft guys from smaller conference. You had the Quinion Mitchell from Toledo last year. Smaller conference school. Turned out to be a very good, seems like he's going to be a very good NFL corner, but obviously he didn't get hurt and miss games like this guy did. This is a risky pick. I think he's projected he's like the 45th or so prospect. I don't think this guy goes in the first round. Maybe someone picks him in the second round, but I think, again, this is a guy this is a risky pick. This isn't, I don't want the Packers to draft this guy. He's too risky, I think. But, maybe I'll just be happy they drafted a corner.
Medicals and interviews are the 2 biggest things coming out of Combine, right? When they sit down with players, they'll talk with players. That's the biggest thing, right? When they sit down and talk with players and they see your medical. Okay, well, you had an ACL tear. Cooper DeJean had a back problem, and he got drafted all the way in the 50s probably because of that, right? Mm-hmm. Teams were scared to draft him that high. I bet the Eagles were scared to draft him that high. They maybe had Cooper DeJean and Quinion Mitchell pretty close. I did. I thought they were I thought Quinion Mitchell was the best corner last year coming coming out.
Yeah, I told you I thought Cooper DeJean was the best, but then I was like, I thought both those guys should have been top 20 picks.
I thought so too.
They should have both gone in from 10 to 20. They both should have been off the board. So
and we thought they were really good players, and I was shocked when Cooper DeJean fell all the way he fell.
I was cheering from like picks 20 to 25 as he just kept falling. I'm like, please, just pick him, Green Bay, just pick him. He's right there. We got this. And
so like I said, medicals are the biggest thing when it comes to the NFL draft, and teams are going to stay away from guys with bad medical history, and this is a guy with bad medical history, so I could see him definitely falling to the third round and some team getting a very good corner in the third round. All right, let's move on here. Oh, Darren Porter. Okay, 6'4", 200 pounds. He's more 6'3", but PFF had 6'4", whatever. Strength, great size in the NFL. Is able to stay with corners downfield and man coverage. Amazing zone corner. Former wide receiver with great ball skills. Struggles to get hands on receivers at the line of scrimmage. I highlighted and bolded a poor tackler.
That one's important.
He's a very bad tackler.
He doesn't tackle anybody.
He doesn't tackle. He had
Which is okay. That kind of sums up with about half the NFL corners.
His run grade was a 30 this year.
Oh, wow.
A 30, so very bad. Will struggle as man coverage corner in the NFL. Tariq Woolen was my player comp, and I think that was perfect for what he sums up about how he is. He's fast, tall, lengthy, great. I think a corner that could be really good in the NFL. He is interesting because I just think I'm not sure how he's going to do. He played at Iowa State, a little bit of a smaller school.
That's not, but that's still decent competition.
Competition.
Did they go to the playoffs, or is it the other state? What's the other? They played in the Big 12 championship.
They did?
Yeah, they lost to what's the other school that I can't think of the name of? Something State. Who was in the college playoffs that played Texas? Why am I trying?
Oh, Arizona State.
Arizona State.
Okay.
They lost to Arizona State in the.
But like, look how many times he got targeted. 17.
He had a 4.7 passer rating. I didn't even know the number could get that low.
He played 12. He played 12 games.
Well, that's what I was looking at. I was like, did he play 5 games?
No.
That's a lot of. I mean, 200 covered snaps, 17 targets.
So there wasn't a lot on him. He got only targeted 17 times,
and he had 3 picks.
Yeah.
That's great. No, I mean, I don't know really anything about this guy. Where is he like projected to go? Like, what is his
third round? It's not good to look at PFF. Hold on, let me look at consensus.
I don't know too much about. I've never heard of this guy, which is the weird. I don't know who this guy is. But those numbers are ridiculous.
Hold on. The big board usually tells me. The consensus big board tells me how they're gonna go.
I mean, this guy should have won like DB of the year. Like this, that's insane.
Yeah. So Travis Hunter, Will Johnson, a reveal, Benjamin Moore, Trey Amos. Like he is in the back half. He's near.
Yeah, there's got to be something else. With
pick
this.
54.
There's got to be something else with this guy.
Let's click on him.
Something like that.
A lot of mock drafts have him going in the 30th.
I'll take him at
27,
I'll take him
27,
I'll take him at 23.
A couple second rounders
or we trade
here.
Back.
Yeah,
this guy Darian Porter. I want to do more research on him because, like
I said,
is he slow? He's got to be like slow.
I don't think so. I think Darian Porter ran a pretty good 40.
I don't know. I don't know this guy.
4.3.
You're kidding me.
He ran a 4.3.
This guy.
I said
there's got to be something.
I said to you, he might be better than Trey Amos. Well, I was like,
I've never heard of this guy. I don't even know who this guy is.
Probably because he's awful in run defense.
That's it. I don't care if he can't stop the run. We don't need him.
Yeah, his run grade was like a 30, Shea.
59.
It was a 36.
He's 24, so he's a little older. He had a 90 coverage grade.
Yeah, he had a
in zone. He's a phenomenal zone cover. Okay.
So he's a zone corner.
This is like Jedi Barron, but worse. This is a worse run defending version of Jedi Barron. That's basically what it is.
But he was
which I really like Jedi Barron. So
he was atrocious in run defense.
I'm gonna keep my eye on. He messed up again.
Yeah, I know. The lighting guy's getting fired.
This guy's interesting. I'm like, okay.
So he's also 6'4". So
no, I know.
6'3".
That's sick.
He's tall.
That's great.
He's a big dude.
I'm gonna keep an eye on Darian Porter.
So if you can get him in the second or third round, I think he'll be a really good outside corner for you in a couple of years. I think he'll be really good. All right. Let's move on here. Azarius Thomas, 6'2", 198. My player comp was Joey Porter. It's a pretty nice one for him. Stays on corner sip really well-rounded corner. Doesn't struggle in man or zone terribly. Does a really nice job at jamming corners. Think he's suited as a press man coverage corner in the NFL. Weaknesses: below average run defender and tackler. Has to work on getting his head around on deep field plays down the field, but that's like almost every corner in the league. It doesn't have elite speed as a corner. I forgot what Azarius Thomas's 40 time was now. I need to look it up. Azarius. I don't know if Thomas. Oh my god. This is atrocious.
Is this the guy? I'm trying to find. There's a guy. I don't know if this guy is from Boston College. Like transfer.
No, this kid was from.
Wait, no, he's from FSU, but is there any Boston College corners in this draft?
No.
It might be this guy then.
Hold on. Well, let's go take a look. Oh, they might not have him as a. I don't know what his snaps were in the. I can't tell you what. Is there? How do I spell his fucking name? I'm really retarded. Is there?
Because someone in this draft played for Jeff Hafley.
Oh, he didn't participate in the 40 time. Okay, that's probably why. I thought he was a little bit slower when I watched him play. I think he is probably like one of the best all around. Like you're not. I think this is like a guy where it's a low floor, a high floor, low ceiling type of player.
It could just be like. Can you go back to the corners, by the way,
Yeah.
on the PFF?
Yeah.
I want to see who this guy is. Elijah Jones. Scroll down a little bit. Elijah Jones. No. No.
He might be a safety, Shea.
Maybe he's go to the safeties. Maybe he's a safety then, but he could play corner or something.
Elijah Jones. Well, he's definitely not up here. That Kentucky kid shot up the board after testing.
I looked it up. I'm just trying to see.
Shea, he's not even.
I'm trying to. There's a kid who like.
Shiloh Sanders.
Is he a later?
Shea, I'm not kidding.
Weird. I'm trying to find this kid.
Who?
I think his name is Elijah Jones.
Nope. No, the only kids that are Jones are these three.
Yeah, I don't know.
Who are we talking about?
There's some that played for Jeff Hafley when he was a coach at Boston College for years. Is coming out of the draft this year.
Okay. Well, we'll take another look at him. Like I said, I think Azarius Thomas was one of the guys that I thought was again, high floor, low ceiling guy. I think you're going to get a good player out of him. It's not a risky pick, but it's also not a flashy pick like some of the other guys, right? He's not as tall. He's not as big as some of the other corners in this draft. So if you can definitely get him in the back half of the second round within maybe the first couple picks of the second round, I'll be okay with that, right? I think this player he's not a bad player at all. Like I said, average, just about average at everything, right? Doesn't struggle at anything really particularly. That's why I like Azarius Thomas. I think he's a good player. So yeah. All right, let's move on here. Malachi Starks, Ezra did this one, so I'll continue to talk. 6'1", 205. Great agility, speed, involved in every play. Elite ball tracking. Very physical tackler. Experience. He'll be a difference maker in his rookie year. More comfortable in coverage. Not a great pressure player. Can get overly aggressive downhill against play action. Will put too much trust in recovery speed when playing man coverage. Malachi Starks is one of the players that is very highly graded in this draft. So a lot of people have him going in the first round. Shea, what do you think on Malachi Starks?
Yeah, this is a guy who I think he's projected. He's probably one of the higher, prospects in this draft, but he probably won't go as high just because he's a safety, and safeties tend not to go really high.
Sure.
I mean, if you look at like last year, the first safety to go off the board was, I'm trying to even think who the first safety to go off the board was.
I don't think it was Tyler Nubin, but he was a second
No,
round
it was.
pick.
It was Tyler Nubin, yeah.
Tyler Nubin was a second.
I think he was the first safety to go off the board in the second round. I mean, you could look. Not many safeties go in the first round. That's usually how it is. Not many safeties go in the first round. Yeah, I actually think it was Tyler Nubin was the first one off the board, if I remember correctly. It's just something that safeties aren't first round picks, I guess, because they're not like the most important position. A lot of people say it's actually the easiest position to play. But I really like Malachi Starks. I think he's the guy this year. He's from Georgia. Whichever team decides to take him is getting a good NFL player no matter what. No matter what pick you take him, if he falls to the 20s or if he's in whatever pick, you are getting a good NFL player no matter what, I think. I think that's just how it is.
Let's see. Was he the first safety?
I'm pretty he was the first safety picked.
Nope. Continue to go. I swear to you, he was?
Yeah, 41 or something like that.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, that's what usually safeties just don't go in the first round. That's just usually how it is. Unless there's one that's really, really good. For example, Malachi Starks this year will be a first-round pick. Next year, Caleb Downs will be a first-round pick. The Ohio State safety, he will be a first-round pick. It's just kind of how it goes. Safeties usually don't go that high, but if they're really good like this guy, they will go high.
Yeah.
But
I feel safety's in an important position to have a good player.
Yeah, he's projected. I think he might be like a top 10 prospect, this guy. But he probably won't go in the top 10 is like just how it goes. If you look at as a prospect, he's 17 prospect. I don't think as a talent, I don't think he's 17. I think as a talent, he's probably top 10, but because he's a safety, he's going to drop.
Yeah, they have him a lot of teams going at 13, 30.
He's a guy if he fell to the Packers at 23, I would almost want to be just take him even though we don't need a safety. I don't know, find a spot for the guy. He's just going to be good. Just find a find a spot on the field.
Consensus says 13 to Miami, so we'll see.
I have a feeling that's where he'll probably go in that 10 to 20 range.
So we will see. So who'd you say Jones was this
Yeah,
name?
I can't find him. I can't find the guy. I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting lied to.
You might be getting lied to, Shea.
I swear I saw there was a guy that played for Jeff Hafley and at Boston College.
Shea, I think you're getting lied to. This has literally everybody in their mother on this board.
No, I know. I just I'm not sure. I thought maybe he transferred or something like that, but
it's okay. All right. So that's fine there. Malachi Starks. I think he's a good player. I think he's definitely going to get graded in the first half. Benjamin Morrison, cornerback, 6 foot 190. Player comparison is Greg Newsome. Solid run defender, doesn't bite on double moves. Just a good job mirroring receivers. I didn't have a lot on this guy because he didn't play. He played 6 games this year for Notre Dame. So again, I didn't have a lot on him. Didn't play a lot of snaps this year at Notre Dame. Again, he got hurt. A little bit undersized in the NFL, and could sometimes leave his area in zone. A lot of these guys, I think, have the same issues when we talk about a lot of them in their eyes and everything like that. Benjamin Morrison, think he could be in a good NFL corner. Think he's probably later in the back half of the second round, maybe even early third round. If he falls that far, probably take him definitely there. A lot of consensus have him, in different positions. Benjamin Morrison here, he's pick 30, he's the 37th prospect, right? But pick 17. So, peak 17, 37th, on the big board. So we'll have to see where he goes in the draft. It'll be interesting to see. Again, there's some guys that have risen.
I like this draft.
Maxwell Harrison has risen.
Who are these guys? These are
all the corners.
NFL mock draft database. I'm liking their mock draft or their projections.
Yeah, I think they do a really good job.
I'm hoping it goes this way. I will take Jedi Barron at 23, please.
That's a lot of consensus, but I think he's jumped up at all.
Yeah, he has. I think he has. Too.
I think he'll go ahead. Actually, Will Johnson probably when it's all said and done. All right, well, let's get to my cornerback / safety number 3. Nick Amore.
Corner / safety?
Yeah, I would take him over Jahai Barron.
This really? Just because he ran really fast.
He's 6'3", 227.
He's a different player. This is a different player than those other guys.
I understand that, but I think he's better than Malachi Starks. When it's all said and done, he's going to be he's fucking Cam Chancellor, this guy.
Yeah, I don't know. Does he cover anyone that well?
He's not the best.
I think this
He's
is like
also not the worst.
This is like
fast.
This is Isaiah Simmons.
No,
those guys all over again. Oh, he's big. He's athletic. He's fast. He'll hit somebody. He can't cover it. That coverage is just he struggles with. He's a safety that struggles with coverage.
No. He didn't struggle in coverage. I don't think he did. I think that's the thing. I think that's why teams are falling in love with him because he can cover too. He had a coverage grade of 86.
Really pretty good coverage grade.
So he was like I think he's going to be better than Malachi Starks when it's all said and done. I think that's crazy to say. I know, but this kid is a stud. He's a freaking an athlete. Might be the best NFL. Might be the best athlete in the draft. Could be a great run defender. Hits hard and can match up against tight ends really well. Needs to do a better job keeping his eyes on the quarterback in zone coverage. Needs to get a little bit technique work more in man coverage. A little bit struggle there. But again, I think he's the number 3 prospect out of corners and safeties I would take on my board. I think just the talent is it's right there, right? You're not going to get, how many times can you get a 6'3" guy that runs a 4'3", 200-pound safety slash?
True. It'll probably be the reason he goes a lot higher, but then you look at guys in the past. Isaiah Simmons, 6'4", whatever, ran a 4'3". Look how his career in the NFL turned out.
But I think
teams didn't know what to do with him. Like, is he a linebacker? Is he a what do we do? That we've seen guys like this before, and it hasn't turned out. So will it cause him to get drafted higher? Oh, absolutely. Some teams will be like, oh, I love his athletic ability and his size and everything like that. But he also causes him to have a very high chance of just not being so good because he's too small to be a linebacker, too big to be a safety.
That's the thing. I think he's big enough to be a linebacker. Isaiah Simmons is not 227.
Look at Isaiah Simmons.
I don't think hold on. We can actually look it up if here. They have this. What year did he come out?
He was he all the way back in 2019? No, he wasn't.
2020?
2021 maybe. I don't remember. I'm trying to think.
He's definitely a safety.
Well, no, he was a safety, but yeah, he also might have been a linebacker when he got drafted.
Right, he actually might have been a linebacker.
But just check the year. Can you check the?
Let's see if this will ever work here. Boop boop boop. There was this one, right? Trevor Lawrence. He came out with Trevor Lawrence and all them. No, he didn't. He didn't come out with Trevor Lawrence. I thought he came out with Trevor Lawrence. No, he didn't come out with.
The year before me. I don't know. I'm just like blanking. No, I don't think it was this draft class.
It wasn't 2019. When the hell did Isaiah Simmons come out?
All right, just look it up.
I don't know. Now we have to look this up. Isaiah Simmons.
I thought it could have been 2019.
He's 6'4", 238. Wow.
Yeah, no, he's big. This.
He got drafted back in
2020.
2020. Interesting. Okay. Oh, so 2020. He's on this board.
Yeah,
Isaiah Simmons. How we just missed him?
As a linebacker.
As a linebacker.
Which makes sense. Yeah. But again, that was the guy. Everyone was like in love with this guy. They're like, oh, because he's so big and he's athletic and all this stuff. Well, it didn't really turn out for him because there wasn't a spot for him on the field too well. Because he why would you take him at linebacker when you could take better linebackers? Why would you take him at safety when you could take better safety? So he's this great athlete, but there just wasn't a spot on the field for him because he wasn't better than the guys at that position. So that could be the same thing with the South Carolina kid.
I don't know, but I think Nick can also if you have to get him in the right system, right? He played in Arizona and he also played in New York. He didn't play it all in New York and he didn't play it all. They did play at Arizona, but he didn't do anything in Arizona. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I remember hearing this guy. I mean, like, again, it's a guy that you get, like you said, he's got to be in the right system. And here's teams got to realize, like, what do they want? Is he a better safety than Malachi Starks? Is he a better safety than? There's really not. There's not too many other good safeties. Xavier Watts, let's say. Is he a better linebacker than? Will he come up and play the run better than this guy and this guy? So it's like kind of like a Jamal Adams type thing. He's going to come up and he's going to hit people. Is he going to be the best in coverage? What's going to you just kind of so. I think his athleticism and everything will cause him to get drafted higher, but it's a matter of
what scheme he goes into.
Yeah, only certain teams might want a guy like this. For example, would you play him at nickel corner and see what he can do with just his size? And he'll play mostly in zone, like a lot of zone stuff, where he'll be maybe in the flat covering short stuff, or you send him on blitzes, go get the quarterback kind of things, or he'll hit people.
Well, Shea, I have some insight for you, and you're gonna laugh at this.
Okay.
Take a guess at how many players the Atlanta Falcons interviewed. And we're on to zero lights. They are fired like that. We'll wrap this up really quickly, but we're probably in the dark now.
How many players the Falcons interviewed?
Offensive players the Falcons interviewed.
This draft?
This draft. Take a guess.
They don't need men. Where are they picking either? I don't even know. They're
15th.
15? Offensive guys?
Correct.
I'm going to guess. I don't even know how many on average, how many players, teams, and how many players.
Get like 40, something
40,
like that.
really?
They maybe get, I don't know, they may get more or less. I don't know. I think it's around 40.
I don't know. Let's go with like anywhere from like 5 to 10. Let's go like 8.
Shea, your answer is wrong. It's 0. They interviewed 0 offensive players.
I had a feeling it was going to be 0, but I didn't want to guess that because I was like, that's probably just like what it is if the way you're making this seem like.
0 offensive players the Atlanta Falcons
How many
interviewed.
pass rushers did they draft? Did they interview?
They probably interviewed all of them.
Because they were like, we should have done that last year. I mean, actually, Michael Penix kind of worked out for them because Kirk Cousins stunk. So maybe the pick was better than we all thought it was. Honestly, the pick might have been better than we all thought it was.
Who knows?
But they could have had Bo Nix too, so it's like, or JJ McCarthy. So.
True. All right, well, we have to end this up here because we have no lightings and our camera guy, our production crew is getting fired this week. So we'll have to figure out a new production crew next week. Maybe Ezra can do production from now on. All right, we'll see you guys next time, and peace out.